channel. If you are new here, my name is Jacqueline. This is part of my jungle. If you are not new here, thank you for coming back. So today is another plant of the day for 25 days of PLANTMAS. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying these videos. And today I really wanted to show off one of my philodendrons that I've had a bit of a love-hate relationship with over the time that I've had her. So this is my Pink Princess Philodendron, and that is her newest leaf. So she finally figured herself out, at least for this one leaf. She gave me this gorgeous, almost half moon. It is a little bit like speckled on each side, but after giving me like mostly dark leaves with just a few little freckles of pink, I was getting worried. This one's gorgeous though. She almost kind of looks more like a black cherry because she gets highlight and her leaves stay darker. At least I'm thinking that's why, because they do fade into more of a green eventually, like these ones down here. But she's had these leaves for quite some time and they haven't faded yet. And this one is just stunning. Like, is that not stunning? That's the most beautiful leaf I've ever seen in my life, I think. So this is my Pink Princess Philodendron, and I'm gonna give you guys a few care tips on her today because I know that I have struggled. You can see there's a lot of not so cute leaves down here, and I think we're finally starting to figure it out, although this one did still get stuck a little bit. It looks like somebody ate the tip off of it, but that's fine. Everything is fine. So lighting on this one, I give her bright direct light, and that might potentially be why she looks like this, but like most philodendrons, they are going to prefer bright indirect light. That's just kind of the case with most tropical plants. And she's been doing really well for me in a higher light situation, but just be warned that you can burn the leaves. So I was told that this damage here on the leaves like this, not that one, this one, is from the light being too high. I don't remember if she had these leaves when I got her or not, but it is definitely a possibility for you to sunburn these leaves, but the plant should adjust over time. So as you can see, these leaves are doing just fine in direct light because I really don't have anywhere else to put her. And she's this massive plant, so it's kind of hard to put her in indirect light when she's underneath a grow light. So it really depends on your environment. You just have to give it time. You can acclimate most plants to direct light. You just have to give them time to adjust and understand that you're gonna get some ugly leaves and that the old leaves are not gonna be able to tolerate the new environment, but the new leaves coming in should be more tolerant of the environment that they're in, because the old leaves were in a different environment when they grew, and you can't change an old leaf. It's there already. Do you know what I mean? So water for her is pretty typical as well. I water every 7 to 10 days. She does live in a greenhouse where it can get really, really hot and she can dry up. So there is a humidifier in there to kind of like balance that out. And she's in this clear container as well, so I'm actually able to just pull her out of the pot and see. You could tell I watered her recently because you can actually still see some of the wet soil in there. You're not going to be able to see any of these like darker spots if it's dry. So if you're ever unsure with a philodendron, a clear pot is definitely your friend. They do really well in a clear pot for me. I enjoy it. I like being able to see the soil and the roots and what's going on in there. So with that said, I might as well tell you that they do like a chunky mix like most aeroids do. I have this one in A very like chunky bark mix. There's some coarse perlite and there is some charcoal in there as well. You guys have seen my repotting videos, I'm sure, so you know what I normally use, but everything is also in the description box if you're ever curious. I have everything linked that I use down there. So temperatures for this one, again, tropical plant, you guys, so I try to keep the temperature around 70 degrees in the greenhouse, if not a little bit higher than that. You don't want it to be too warm because they will dry out very, very quickly. And it's just not necessary for most plants for it to be that hot in there. So that is what I aim for. And then humidity. Humidity is tricky with this because they don't need it to grow and thrive, but with this type of philodendron, I think it's technically a Philodendron erubescens, the pink princess, if I'm not mistaken. They have an issue with their leaves getting stuck, which is what happened here. You can see it looks like somebody just like took a nibble out of it, but like they didn't, and it's like that on this one too, which is a bummer because that would have been such a gorgeous leaf. I actually kind of prefer them when they're more marbly, but I'm not mad about this half moon. So if you want to avoid your leaves getting stuck, higher humidity is going to be the easiest way to go about that. If not, you're going to have to mist the new leaf every single day, multiple times a day probably, when you see it coming in, to make sure that it's not getting stuck. So I don't know if you can tell, there's a new leaf coming in on this one already, and I really, really, really don't want it to get stuck. So I've been diligent about making sure that the humidifier is on in there, and I do like to keep an eye on it. If they do get stuck, you can always, like I said, mist it. If you notice that it's doing that curly thing where it's trying to come out of the sheath but it's gotten stuck, this one I'm not worried about really because it's, the tip of it is already out. Sometimes the tip will get stuck and the rest of the leaf is trying to unfurl and it does this like curly thing. I'll try and find a picture of it and put it on the screen for you so you know what I'm talking about. I just don't have any plants that look like that right now. But if that is the case, then I definitely recommend spraying it or taking like a wet paper towel and just like gently kind of rubbing it down and twisting it. So that is a humidity issue, because if the leaf doesn't have enough moisture to unfurl properly, you're just gonna get these gorgeous leaves that come out damaged. So you can tell these tips got stuck when they were unfurling. So high humidity for this one is definitely going to be a game changer. I always aim for at least 60%, if not more than that. More than 80% is really not necessary for most plants, but you do you, boo-boo. Some people grow in 100% humidity, so it is what it is. You just have to be careful with fungal stuff at that point, but that's not what this video is about. So humidity is not necessary for this plant to grow, but it is quite necessary, unfortunately, if you want the leaves to not get stuck. So there is that. And then fertilizer on this one, again, literally the same thing I use on every other plant, just a regular houseplant fertilizer. I have been trying the more like fish emulsion type of stuff on it as well, so we will see what happens, but I really don't do anything fancy when it comes to fertilizing my plants, and a regular houseplant fertilizer is going to be fine for this. I don't know this plant to be like particularly hungry or needing any specific nutrient. If it does, please do share that in the comment section below, but I've never heard of that. So there are certain plants that are definitely hungrier than others, and certain plants that are going to want different nutrients and minerals compared to others, but this is not one of them. So pretty easygoing plant in my opinion. It does have a pretty stupid growth pattern though, so the sooner you can get it up on a pole, the happier you're both gonna be, I promise, because it grows really, really dumb if you don't train it how to grow properly. So that is one of my issues that I have with this type of plant. The way that it grows is just really dumb sometimes, so I'm glad that I've been able to get this one up on a pole and growing the way that I want her to. And propagating this one is really no different than propagating any other philodendron. You're going to want to cut right below a node so that you have somewhere to root it from. A lot of the time with philodendrons like this, especially if you have it in a higher humidity situation, you're already going to have lots of aerial roots, which is going to be very beneficial for you. So this is not a particularly difficult plant to root. It is a fairly easy plant to root, and you can root it in water, you can root it in moss, you can root it in perlite, fluval, whatever makes you happy. I personally have not rooted this plant before, but I have rooted other philodendrons that are similar, and I haven't had an issue with them. I usually just throw them right into water. So that is my story, and that is my Philodendron Pink Princess. Let me know if you have any more questions about this plant. If you want to hate on this plant, that's totally fine. We have a love-hate relationship, but I am thinking about giving her a good chop up here and just restarting the top of the plant and propagating some of these nodes down here, since the leaves don't necessarily look great. So I'm more than happy to do that with you guys. I also just recently repotted her. You could see that on my channel. I filmed a little short for you so that you didn't miss it, and I cannot stand that leaf. It's gorgeous, and the variegation on the stem is insane. So I really anticipate the next leaf being quite pink as well. I don't know if you can tell, but this leaf coming in here already has like this whole chunk of pink. So I'm pretty excited to see this one continue to grow, and hopefully it doesn't continue to give us stuck leaves, because she's got really nice genetics. She's got a couple of babies down in the bottom of the pot that I'm letting grow a little bit as well. Oh wait, here's an example of a stuck leaf. You see it? Do you see it? That's what I'm talking about. How like the tip will get stuck. So you can very like just gently go in there and pull it out, but I don't recommend doing it dry. So I'm gonna spray that down with water when we're done here and try and ease it out of the sheath so that it doesn't get damaged on its way out. So that is it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed hanging out with me. If you did, you should give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything from me. There's a join button down there if you want to be part of the official plant fam. If not, there is a super thanks button if you want to super thanks me. Everything is appreciated. I really can't do this without you guys. And I'm grateful that you're here. So Pink Princess, Philodendron. I just can't stop looking at this leaf. I'm gonna go and I will be seeing you later with another video. Bye.